The Rebel Capitalist Show.
I really would love to hear your thoughts on where we're going with the inflation, deflation debate. You know, it's been going back and forth on Twitter, and then gold, silver, Bitcoin. Would love to hear your thoughts on
that. Yeah. So I'm still in the idea that we still have a bout of deflation in the midst, and I know that's really hard for a lot of people to try and think of, considering how much the Federal Reserve has been putting on their balance sheet and trying to inject into the economy and stuff.
Do you see that because of the demand side?
I see it from the demand side. I see and I really see it not just from the United States, but really from the globe. You know, at some point, as things deteriorate, the demand for dollars is going to be far bigger than anybody had ever anticipated.
Okay.
During that initial, it won't last forever, and then that'll turn and eventually go into a hyperinflation scenario. But before that happens, I think there's going to be, before the hyperinflation, there's going to be a deflationary scenario that is going to force the Federal Reserve to take into action something that they had never done before, and that's introduce that FedCoin, that cryptocurrency, the central bank digital currency.
Yep.
And it's funny because I talked about this a while ago, and people just said I was crazy. It's never going to happen, but it's really, really coming into gear now.
Yep.
And what was that? Loretta Mester had a great speech last week or something like that, where she talked all about the central bank digital currency. And it's pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to be direct injections of money into our digital wallets that we can spend into the economy. Now, right now, there is no legal authority, I guess, to say for the Fed to do it. It's not in their charter to be able to hand money directly over to the people. So they're going to need a crisis to deal with that in order to get Congress to change the laws for them to be able to provide everybody with these digital wallets, and then be able to inject that money directly into our digital wallets so that we can go and spend it into the economy. Once that happens, then we are going to start seeing inflation and money velocity and everything else start picking up. Yeah. But as long as they're continuing to loan the money into the system and the interest rates being as low as they are and the return on the investment being pretty much nil, I just don't see the money velocity picking up during that time. That's just my opinion on it. And of course, I just pick up bits and pieces of information from everybody. I'm not educated in the matter by any means, but it just certainly seems to be the case that's coming up. I mean, I don't think the Federal Reserve would be putting as much effort towards the digital currency and injecting money directly into the system through those digital wallets if they did not feel that there is going to be a crisis coming into the future that they need the tools ready to enact. And they can see it happening in the next couple of years. They say by 2023, I think it's going to happen sooner than that. But I think everything happens sooner than it does. I always think everything's happening like way quick, and this is a very slow,
Well, at the end of the day, they have to have inflation to bail out the government because we're 26, 27 trillion in debt, and we've got $4 trillion deficits annually right now. The only way out there is some serious inflation. And I would assume the Fed is looking at Japan and saying, okay, well, what happened in Japan? Why could they not get inflation? And therefore, how can we get inflation if we want it? And it goes right back to everyone having an account with the Fed where they just turn bank reserves into legal tender, just like Dr. Lacey Hunt would say, and it's exactly what you just outlined. So how does that work for gold, silver, and Bitcoin?
In my opinion, that would be very good for gold and silver, and Bitcoin as well. I still look at I'm very fond of Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin. I try and buy some every once in a while just to keep adding to it. I like the system and the way it works. I'm not completely sold on the idea that Bitcoin is going to be like the next currency of the future. I don't see it going anywhere. I like Bitcoin because of the security behind it. There's more mining going behind Bitcoin than any other. So there's a lot of reasons why I like the Bitcoin protocol. I personally am more into Litecoin I like the founder, Charlie Lee, the guy who came up with Litecoin. A
Right.
lot of people don't like him for some of the decisions he made, but I really like, his nature. I really like the effort that he puts into his project and his coin. So I kind of go with Litecoin myself,
Right.
just because I won a long time ago and that was it. So I see like cryptocurrencies having a future. Which one? I couldn't tell you. Blockchain for sure. Blockchain is definitely going to come into the system. Everybody and everything is eventually going to get tokenized. And I know that's scary for some people to hear, but it's just going to be the case. A friend of mine didn't even realize it, that he was buying a service using a cryptocurrency and a blockchain technology. He didn't even realize he was doing it.
Mm.
His friend was setting him up with this particular service. I don't want to talk too much about it because I really don't know a whole lot about it. And then I don't know if they want me talking about it anyway, but I'm going to. So, but he was buying this particular service and he says, hey man, there's this way you can get a discount if you use this other operation in order to pay instead of using PayPal. He said, fine, let's use the other operation. Well, it turned out to be Uniswap was this coin that he was using. Well, he got airdropped like 400 Uniswap worth $2,200. And he was like, man, I can't believe it. I just don't even know. I mean, now what is this? And so I had to explain to him blockchain and cryptocurrencies and wallets and everything else. But he cashed out half of it for $1,100. He was still beside himself, that he was able to do this. And so this blockchain technology is incorporating itself into everything into our lives. And a lot of people, like I said, are not going to even realize that it happened.
Yeah.
And there. As far as gold and silver, I save in silver. That's like, if I'm going to put any money into savings, as far as like my long-term, never touch it again savings, I buy silver bullion every time.
At any price.
And yeah, pretty much at any price. At this point, it's any price because I've been buying since 2009. I've bought it at $35 an ounce, and I bought it at $15 an ounce, and I couldn't tell you where my average is. So I guess it doesn't matter at this point. It's just about how many ounces I have, and not really because I couldn't tell you what my average is anymore. It's just
Right.
I bought so much all over the place.
Yeah.
So
you just see gold and silver as a store of value, and that you're really not speculating on it. You just buy it because it's always going to maintain its purchasing power over the long run.
Pretty much, it's been my foundation. Like, it's what gets me to sleep at night. When I mean, I don't know if I told you the story, but I was broke as hell a few years back, and I mean, heavily in debt, and had broken down cars, all kinds of stuff, and it was just like, it sucks being in that position, like where you don't even have enough money to like go buy toilet paper. Like, you don't have any money. You spend all the change, it's all gone. But I had an ammo box full of silver, and life wasn't so bad. Like you had it, you knew it, that it was there, and that you had that protection, that insurance. And so like you show up to work, you get your next paycheck, you blast through that one, you just keep doing it, and then pretty soon you keep adding to it, and you realize, you go back, and I was just like, man, thank God I had that silver, because if I didn't have that, I really would not have been able to sleep. I would have been stressed out to the max and stuff. So to me, like, it's out of the banking system, it's away from everybody, it's something I can give to my kids, later. It's, to me, it's like, it's my base, it's like my foundation, it's what I build everything off of.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it's all about. That's what precious metals at their core. That's the reason you own them right there. And that's a great story.
Now, had you asked me 10 years ago when I first started buying and it ran up to $50 an ounce, I would have told you I was the smartest person in the world and everybody should have listened to me, and I'm going to be, I'm going to have like brand new cars and houses. You guys watch and see. So I learned a lot. I learned my lesson from that when it went from, after spending, $35 an ounce, watching it go all the way down to, less than 15, you learn a lot. You learn a lot from that,
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't take the same perspective that I used to, especially when it comes to silver.
Yeah, it can be volatile. You have to look at it over the long run. It's maintaining its purchasing power.